My name's Jesse Benali, and I need to tell you what happened on the Coyote Ridge trail before I convince myself it was just my imagination. 3 weeks ago, I went hiking in northern Arizona with two guys I just met. I came back alone. The police think I'm lying. My family thinks I had a psychotic break. But I know what I saw, and I think that one of those men was a Skinwalker. Let me start from the beginning. I'd been planning a solo hiking trip to the Four Corners region for months. Just me, my backpack, and 4 days in the desert to clear my head after a brutal breakup. I'm not the outdoorsy type usually. I work IT in Flagstaff, but I needed to get away from the screens and people and everyone that reminded me of Sarah. My grandmother warned me before I left. She's full Navajo, still lives on the reservation near Chinle. When I told her where I was going, her face went dark. "Don't hike alone out there, Sheayash," she said, using her name for me. "And if you meet someone on the trail who feels wrong, you turn around. You don't ask questions. You don't make excuses. You just leave." "Grandma, it's just hiking." "There are things in that desert, things that walk on two legs but aren't human. Your grandfather knew. He saw one when he was young. It wore his cousin's face, but it wasn't his cousin anymore." I heard stories my whole life. Skinwalkers, Yinad Lushi, witches who wore animal skins and could take human form. I'd always thought they were just stories to keep kids from wandering off. I should have listened to her. I started at the Coyote Ridge trailhead on a Tuesday morning. The plan was simple. Hike 12 miles to the first campsite, spend the night, then continue to Red Canyon the next day. Easy terrain, well-marked trails, perfect for a beginner. The parking lot was empty when I arrived, just my truck and an old Ford Ranger. As I was adjusting my pack straps, two guys walked up. "Morning," the first one said. He was mixed like me, probably half Navajo, with sun-bleached hair and the kind of tan that comes from living outside. "You hiking the ridge loop?" "Yeah, first time out here." "Nice, we're doing the same route." He extended his hand. "I'm Dylan Sosi. This is my buddy Thomas." Thomas stepped forward to shake my hand too. He was full-blooded Navajo, dark skin, long black hair, and a traditional bun, turquoise bracelet on his wrist. When he smiled, something flickered in my gut. Not quite unease, but close. His handshake was cold, really cold, like he'd been holding ice. "Jesse Benali," I said, pulling my hand back. "Benali?" Dylan's face lit up. "You got family near Chinle?" "Yeah, my grandmother. You know the area?" "Born and raised in Kayenta. Small world, man." He gestured to Thomas. "Thomas is from Window Rock. We met on a trail a couple years back. Been hiking together ever since." Thomas nodded but didn't speak. His eyes were very dark, very still. "Listen," Dylan said. "You mind if we tag along? Always safer to hike in groups out here. Rattlesnakes, heat stroke, all that fun stuff." I hesitated. I wanted to be alone, but Dylan had a point, and they seemed friendly enough. Plus, there was something comforting about hiking with other natives, people who understood the land. "Sure," I said. Safety in numbers." That was my first mistake. We set out together, Dylan leading, me in the middle, Thomas bringing up the rear. The morning was beautiful. Clear sky, cool air, red rock stretching to the horizon. Dylan was chatty, asking about my job, my family, why I was hiking alone. Normal conversation. Thomas didn't talk much. When he did, his voice was flat, almost monotone. But that wasn't weird on its own. Some people are just quiet. Plenty of traditional Navajo men I knew were like that, spoke only when necessary. Around mile 3, we stopped for water. I drank half my bottle. Dylan drank too. Thomas just stood there, holding his water bottle but not drinking. "You good?" Dylan asked him. Yes, I am good. Thomas's response was stilted. Careful. Dude, drink something. It's getting hot. I will drink later. Dylan shrugged at me. He's weird about staying hydrated. It's a traditional thing, I think. He fasts a lot. We kept walking. By noon, we'd covered 7 miles. The sun was brutal now, and I was drenched in sweat. Dylan was sweating too, his shirt soaked through. But Thomas looked completely dry, not a drop of sweat on his face or arms. How are you not dying right now? I asked him. He turned to look at me. His eyes were black, like looking into a well. I do not feel heat the same way. Lucky you. Yes, lucky. Something about the way he said it made my skin crawl. It reminded me of something my grandmother had said once. They speak like they're remembering how to use words, like the language doesn't belong to them. We reached the first campsite around 3 p.m. It was just a clearing with a fire ring and a flat spot for tents. No one else around, just us and miles of empty desert. Dylan immediately started setting up his tent. I did the same. Thomas stood at the edge of the camp, staring out at the landscape. He didn't move for 20 minutes, just stood there facing west, perfectly still. Is he okay? I asked Dylan quietly. Yeah, he does that sometimes. Prayer thing, I think. I didn't really ask. He's pretty traditional. While we set up camp, I noticed something else. Thomas's skin looked wrong in the afternoon light. Not sunburned or tanned. Just off. Waxy almost. Like really high-quality leather that had been stretched over something. I told myself it was the desert light playing tricks. That evening, we made dinner. Dylan and I cooked ramen on a camp stove. Thomas said he wasn't hungry. You haven't eaten all day, Dylan pointed out. I ate before we started. That was 10 hours ago. I am not hungry. And Dylan looked at me and shrugged. He does these long fasts. Spiritual purification or something. He'll eat when he's ready. But I was starting to worry. Not because he wasn't eating. I know plenty of people who fasted for ceremonies. But because the way he sat. Perfectly still. Not shifting his weight. Not adjusting his position. Not doing any of the small unconscious movements humans make. He just sat there, staring at the fire, unblinking. I counted 47 seconds without blinking. When he finally did blink, both eyes closed at exactly the same time, like a doll's eyes clicking shut. My grandmother's words echoed in my head. They don't blink right. They forget to, then remember all at once. Dylan, I said quietly. Has Thomas always been this? Still? What do you mean? He doesn't move much. Like, at all. Dylan laughed. Yeah, he's always been like that. Super meditative or whatever. Weirded me out when we first started hiking together too. But you get used to it. I wanted to ask how long they'd known each other. But Thomas's head turned toward us. Smoothly. Too smoothly. Like it was on a swivel. Are you talking about me? His voice had no emotion in it. Just telling Jesse you're really zen, Dylan said easily. Yes, I am zen. Thomas smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. His teeth were very white, very straight. Too perfect. That night, I barely slept. My tent was between Dylan's and Thomas's, and I could hear Dylan snoring within an hour. But from Thomas's tent, nothing. No rustling, no breathing sounds, no movement at all. Around 2 a.m., I heard footsteps outside my tent. I froze, listening. Slow, steady footsteps circling the camp. Then they stopped right outside my tent. I held my breath. Through the thin nylon, I saw a shadow, human-shaped, but wrong somehow. proportions weren't quite right. I heard Thomas's voice, very close. "Are you awake, Jesse Benali?" I didn't answer. I lie there, paralyzed with fear, as the shadow stood outside my tent. My grandmother had told me, if one of them learns your full name, it has power over you. Never tell them your whole name. Finally, the footsteps moved away. In the morning, I asked Dylan if he'd heard anything during the night. No. Slept like a rock. Why?" "I thought I heard something walking around the camp. Probably a coyote. They come through sometimes. Or maybe a dog from one of the nearby ranches." I glanced at Thomas. He was rolling up his sleeping bag with precise mechanical movements. Did you hear anything, Thomas?" He looked at me with those flat black eyes. "I heard you, breathing, in your tent. Your heartbeat was very fast. My blood went cold. You can't hear someone's heartbeat from outside a tent. That's not possible." "Is it not?" He tilted his head. "I hear many things others do not." Dylan laughed nervously. "Okay, that's creepy, dude. Even for you." We packed up and started hiking. The plan was to reach Red Canyon by evening, another 12 miles. The terrain got rougher, the trail narrower. We had to scramble over rocks in some places. That's when I noticed the third thing. Dylan slipped on a loose rock around mile 4. He caught himself, but scraped his hand pretty badly on the sharp stone. Blood welled up immediately. "Ugh, shit," he muttered, pulling out his first aid kit. 5 minutes later, Thomas slipped on the exact same rock. His hand came down the same sharp edge. I saw the rock cut into his palm. Saw it slice deep. But there was no blood. He stood up, looked at his hand, and said, "I am fine." "Dude, let me see," Dylan said. "No need. I am fine." But I'd seen it. The rock had definitely cut him, deep enough that there should have been blood. "Thomas, seriously, let us look at your hand." He turned to me. For just a moment, his face went completely blank, empty. Then he held out his palm. There was nothing to see. The skin was smooth and unbroken, but I had seen the rock slice into it. My grandmother's voice echoed. "They don't bleed. The body they wear is not alive. It's a shell, a suit made of skin and bone." We kept hiking, but now I was watching him constantly, looking for more signs, more proof that my grandmother had been right all along. I found them. He never got tired. We'd been hiking for days now, over rough terrain and brutal heat, and he never showed any sign of fatigue. His breathing never changed. His pace never slowed. He moved too smoothly. Humans have a natural bounce when they walk, a slight bob to their gait. Thomas moved like he was gliding, perfectly level, perfectly smooth. And the smell. Whenever I got close to Thomas, I could smell it. Something sweet and metallic, like copper mixed with sage. The smell of something dead trying to mask itself with desert plants. My grandmother had told me they smell like death covered in perfume, like something rotting under flowers. By the afternoon, I couldn't take it anymore. When Thomas went ahead to scout the trail, I grabbed Dylan's arm. "We need to talk about Thomas." "What about him?" "There's something wrong with him. Really wrong." Dylan looked at me with concern. "Jesse, are you feeling alright? Have you been drinking enough water?" "I'm serious. He doesn't eat. He doesn't drink. He doesn't sweat. He didn't bleed when he cut his fucking hand. Dylan, I think he's a skinwalker." Dylan's face went pale. "Don't say that word out here." "Why not? You know the stories. Your family must have told you." "Yeah, and my family also told me never to speak about them, especially not out here, in their territory. You're going to bring bad luck on us." "Dylan, I think the bad luck is already here. I think it's been hiking with us for 3 days." He stepped back from me. You're being paranoid. Thomas is just traditional. He's different. That doesn't make him a... He couldn't even say the word. Listen to yourself. You've been hiking with him for 2 years. Tell me one personal thing you know about him. His family. His job. Anything? Dylan opened his mouth, then closed it. We don't talk about that stuff. We just hike. For 2 years, and you never asked about his life? He likes his privacy. Or he doesn't have a life to talk about. Dylan's expression shifted from concern to fear. But before he could respond, Thomas emerged from around the trail bend. What are you discussing? His voice was flat. Nothing, Dylan said quickly. Just taking a break. Thomas's head tilted. You were discussing me. I heard my name. We were just... You called me Ye Not Lucy. His pronunciation was perfect. Too perfect. Like he'd spoken the word 1,000 times. That's what you think I am, Jesse Benali? I took a step back. I didn't... You are correct. His face was expressionless. I am what your grandmother warned you about. I am what walks in the skin of Thomas Begay from Window Rock. He has been asleep inside this body for 2 years, dreaming. When I am finished learning, I will let him wake. He will remember nothing. Dylan made a sound like a wounded animal. No, this isn't... Dylan Sosi from Kienta. Thomas, or the thing wearing Thomas, turned to him. You have taught me much about human friendship. How you trust. How you ignore the small warnings because you want to believe the best in others. It has been valuable. Where is he? I demanded. Where's the real Thomas? He is here. Underneath. Sleeping. The Skinwalker touched its chest. I wear him carefully. I will return him when I am done. Most of them do not remember their time inside. The human mind protects itself from such knowledge. You're lying, Dylan said, his voice shaking. Thomas, if you're in there, fight this thing. Come back. He cannot hear you. And soon, neither of you will remember this conversation. I have learned recently how to make humans forget. It's easier than killing, less disruptive to my studies. It took a step toward us, and I saw its shadow on the ground. The shadow didn't match its body. It was wrong. Too many limbs, too many angles. The shadow of something that shouldn't exist. Dylan, I said quietly, we need to run. But the Skinwalker moved faster than anything human should move. One moment, it was 5 feet away. The next, it was right in front of us. Up close, I could see it clearly now. The skin wasn't skin at all. It was a suit made from Thomas's body, worn over something else. I could see the seams at the neck, the wrists. I could see it shifting and settling, like it didn't quite fit right. I do not want to hurt you, it said. I only want to understand you. But you have seen me truly now. That complicates my observation. What are you? Dylan whispered. I am Ye Not Lucy. I am the Skinwalker. I am the one who goes on all fours. I am old. I have worn many skins and walked many roads. I learned from the living because I've forgotten what it means to be alive. Its head tilted. Sometimes they struggle when I take them. Sometimes they welcome it. The struggling ones last longer, but the welcoming ones teach me more about humanity. I realized with horror what it meant. You've done this before, many times. For generations, you people knew me. Your grandmother knows me. Perhaps she has seen me wearing different faces over her lifetime. Perhaps she saw me wearing her cousin, or her brother, or her husband. It smiled with Thomas's mouth. You people learn not to speak of us, not because we are not real, but because speaking draws our attention. Why us? I asked. Because you were here. Because you were alone. Because Jesse Benali carries the old blood, and Dylan Sosi carries the old stories. And Thomas Begay was traditional enough, and no one questioned his silence. It reached towards Dylan's face. Now, I must make you forget. It will be uncomfortable, but brief. I didn't think. I grabbed a fistful of dirt and threw it in the thing's face, then grabbed Dylan's arm. Run! We ran. Behind us, the Skinwalker made a sound that wasn't human. A sound like coyotes screaming, mixed with wind through a canyon. The sound of something ancient and something furious. We crashed through the desert, stumbling over rocks. I could hear it behind us, not running. Its footfalls were too even, too measured. It was walking, but covering ground faster than we could run. The ranger station! Dylan gasped. 2 miles north! We ran harder than I'd ever ran in my life. The sounds behind us changed. The footsteps became something else, something with 4 legs instead of 2. I remembered the stories. They can walk on 2 legs, or 4. They are fastest on 4. I didn't look back. I couldn't. If I looked back and saw what Thomas's body had become, I knew I would stop running. I would give up. Dylan's hand found mine. Keep going. Don't look. My grandmother told me never to look back at them. We reached a ridge, and I could see the ranger station in the distance. Lights on. A truck parked outside. Safety. Behind us, the sound stopped. I risked a glance. That thing was standing on the ridge we just left. It was on all 4s now. The shape was wrong. Too long. Too many joints. Thomas's face hung loose, like a mask that had slipped. It spoke, and its voice carried across the desert like it was right next to us.
I will find you again, Jesse Benali. You carry the old blood. You would teach me much. When you forget I am watching, I will be there.
Then it turned and vanished into the desert. We reached the ranger station and pounded on the door until someone opened it. A Navajo ranger took one look at our faces and pulled us inside without question. What did you see? He asked quietly. A Skinwalker, I said. He was wearing our friend. The ranger didn't laugh, didn't tell us we were crazy. He just nodded and picked up his radio. This is Ranger Station 3. I need a sweep of Coyote Ridge. We've got a confirmed sighting. Confirmed? I asked. You're not the first, he said. And you won't be the last. They've been here longer than we have. They'll be here long after we're gone. A search team went out at first light. They found our campsite. They found our gear. They found Thomas Begay's body. He was lying on the trail, naked, curled in a fetal position, alive, but unconscious. When the EMTs checked him, he had no injuries, no explanation for why he was unconscious. He just was. He woke up 3 days later in the hospital with no memory of the past 2 years. The last thing he remembered was hiking alone near Window Rock. Then, nothing. 2 years gone. The police questioned us. Our stories matched. We'd been hiking with Thomas. He had acted strange. We ran. But we couldn't explain the missing time. Couldn't explain what had been walking around in his body. The Navajo police took our statements seriously. One of the officers, an older man, pulled me aside. "Your grandmother called me," he said. "She told me you might be in trouble. She said to tell you. You did the right thing. You ran. That's what you're supposed to do." "Will it come back?" I asked. "Maybe. Maybe not. Sometimes they fixate on someone. Sometimes they move on." He paused. "But you spoke the name. You acknowledged what it was. That creates a connection." "Dylan and I don't talk anymore. Last I heard, he moved to Seattle, far from the desert, far from the reservation. He won't answer my calls. Thomas is back in Window Rock, living his life like nothing happened. The doctors say he had some kind of fugue state, dissociative amnesia. They have no idea he was being worn like a coat for 2 years. But I know what happened, and I know it's still out there. I visited my grandmother last week. When I told her everything, she just nodded. "They walk among us," she said. "They always have. Your grandfather saw one wearing his cousin's skin. It spoke with his cousin's voice, knew his cousin's memories. But the eyes were wrong. Just like you said. The eyes were wrong." "What did grandfather do?" "He did what you did. He ran. And he never went back to that part of the desert." "Will it come for me?" She was quiet for a long time. Then she took my hand. "You carry the old blood," she asked. "You can see them when others cannot. That makes you useful to them. They want to understand us, and you can help them understand." She squeezed my hand. "But you can also see them coming. You'll know. And when you know, you run." I don't hike anymore. I barely leave Flagstaff. Because sometimes, late at night, I smell that sweet metallic sage smell. And I see shadows that don't match the bodies casting them. And I wonder if it's watching me, learning from me, waiting for the moment I forget to pay attention. I wonder if the next time I meet someone, a coworker, a neighbor, a stranger at a coffee shop, I'll notice the signs. The way they don't blink quite right. The way their skin looks waxy in certain light. The way they move too smoothly. Or if it's learned well enough that I won't notice at all. Until it's too late. My grandmother's last words to me. "If you ever meet someone who knows your full name without you telling them, you run. You don't ask questions. You just run." I keep those words close because I know the Skinwalker learned my name, and Skinwalkers never forget.